I did these commercials for a network we'll call Laugh Central, where I had to play a clown, okay? And I don't know if you noticed, but comedians and clowns don't like each other. It's hard to explain. It's like East Coast, West Coast, like Crips and Bloods. I don't know how to explain it. So it was an ethical call for me, you know? But it was like 2 days of work. It's gonna be like 6 commercials. I needed the money. So I show up the first day and I have to dress like a clown. You know, with the clown suit and the shoes and the nose and the hair, and the union guys on set are messing with like, boot, doot, 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 yeah, quit clowning around. And it's funny the first 30,000 times, you know. So we do the first day. So the second day, we shoot it, and at lunch, the director comes up, he's like, look, this is really great. We've done the clown thing. I think we're wrapped. I think we're done. We might have to shoot one more little interstitial piece. Why don't you take a 2-hour lunch break while we figure it out? I'm like, okay, and he's like, here's the thing. The makeup guy got sick, so I need you to keep the clown suit on, don't smudge the makeup. At the time, my wife worked in a mental hospital, and I thought it would be really funny if I showed up dressed as a clown. Like, what's funnier than that, right? That's the way I think. So I hail a cab, right? Pull up to the hospital. I get into the front desk. I see the security guy. He takes one look at me. He's like, checking in. I'm like, no, my wife works here, right? I'm like, tell me the room. So he tells me the room. So I jump in the room, I'm like, boot, doot, 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 doot. And she's in session with like 6 crackheads. And one guy's like, you know, runs out, steals a VCR, squeegees a window against the wall. And she's like, no pussy for a month. Like the whole thing backfired. Like I thought it was gonna be funny. It all backfired, right? So like a lot of my plans. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go chill out. I'm gonna get a sandwich. I'm gonna sit in the park and I'm just gonna wait until I have to go back to the set. So I had like an hour and a half. So I go to Washington Square Park. I got a sandwich. It's a beautiful day. Not if you guys noticed, but Washington Square Park, a lot of the time, there's street performers. And that day there was a mime in the park. I'm like, oh, and the mime had a crowd, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I gotta go fuck with this mime. Like I couldn't, how could I not do it, right? So the mime's out there doing his stuff, so I start imitating him I'm doing his shit, but really shitty. You know, he's like trapped in a box, I'm trapped in a box, he's pulling the string. And the mime's getting pissed, but he's a mime, so he can't say shit. He's just sawing the wood angry, right? And people are like, this clown is fucking hilarious. And I'm like, boot, doot, 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 you know, I'm making money in the cup. It's awesome, it's like a high point in my life, right? So, but after about 15 minutes, you know, I realized, this is this guy's livelihood. I shouldn't mess with this guy's livelihood, right? So, you know, I go sit down, eat the sandwich, the crowd dissipates, and the mime comes over, and he's pissed, you know, and I know he's pissed because he's talking. He's like, hey, man, you can't just come clowning in the park. You know, there's a sign-up sheet. You know, there's Master Lee who breaks the boards. There's the tumblers, and I'm fucking with him. I'm like, that's not what the bearded lady told me. He's like, what bearded lady? I'm kidding. Dude, I'm not a clown, I'm a comedian. He's like, why don't you say so, right? So he sits down next to me. He's like, I love comedy. He's like, you want to smoke a joint? Like, this shit is not surreal enough already. I'm like, okay. So, in his little Marceau head, he's MacGyvered away a joint in the stem of the flower, right? So he breaks it out, and we're hitting it, and it's really, really strong. Right, and there's a certain point where I can only move my eyes. I'm like, you know, so I'm trying to focus on one thing. Just focus on one thing to kind of get my bearings. And there's a lady walking around the park backwards for exercise. And I just start talking. I start saying stuff that I think is profound, but it's stupid. I'm like, I wonder if when she gets home, it's yesterday. You know, and he's like, yeah, right? So all of a sudden, he just runs off. I'm like, maybe I offended him or something. I look, 3 cops are running away. They're like, you're under arrest. Get that fucking mime. The mime is booking through the park, right? You know, they tackle him. He goes down slow motion. I'm like, what's going on? They open up his mime. They're like, you buying drugs from a known drug dealer. They open up his mime makeup kit. It's like a tackle box. There's no makeup in there. It's like 50 bags of weed. I'm like, no. They bring him back. I'm like, dude, what's this? He's like, you think I pay the rent miming? So they arrest us both, right? He goes into the car. Then I go into the car. And because it's New York City, I hate to say it's like a stereotype, but there is a Japanese tourist with a camera that is like, New York, crazy place. Mime and clown get arrested every day. I'm like, no! So they take us to Central Booking. They take us to the Tubes, right? And I get the one phone call, right? So I call Comedy Central, Laugh Central, and they're like, you know, where are you? I'm like, I got arrested smoking a joint with a mime. You know, click, hello. Back into the cell. So now I'm in a cell with all these big dudes, so I'm just acting crazy. You know, I'm just walking around like, boot, doot, 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 wah, 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 wah. And people are leaving me alone. I got a lot of space, you know? People are leaving me alone, just making a lot of noise. And finally, one guy comes over. He's like, man, what's up with all the noise? I'm like, you know, I just want to call my wife, but I use my phone call. He's like, you could use my phone call if you just shut up. I'm like, great. And he's like, but there's a bartering system. I'm like, well, what does that entail? And he's like, I don't know. You do birthdays? I'm like, yeah, because I thought it was ass fucking. I mean, a birthday, I'll do ass fucking, not so much. So call the wife. She's like, no pussy for 2 months. She's got to bail me out. So the commercials come out for like a week or two, and then they yank them. And and it was a disappointing episode in my life. There have been many, and that was one. And I'm like, I'm just going to try, turn over a new leaf. Everything's going to be cool, whatever. So I kind of forget about the whole situation. And must have been about 6-7 years ago. I have a show in Soho in the Art Gallery District, and I get there early. I park, and there's this art gallery that's packed with people. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go in there, pretend I'm going to buy some shit, get some free wine. You ever do that? All right, just me. So, but they always know, they always know you don't belong. I'm pointing out the wrong shit. How much is that stunning red box? It speaks to me. Sir, that's the fire alarm. Yes. So I'm in there, and I realize everybody but me is Japanese in this place. So I'm 6'4", I'm walking through like Godzilla, like, and there's a sake bar in there. And so everybody's hitting this sake bar. So I'm hanging out with all these guys, and there's not a lot of English being spoken. We're just pounding the sake. And the way it works is you hit the sake bar, and then you look at one part of the exhibit, and then you hit the sake bar, and you look at the next part of the exhibit. You walk around in a circle. And there's like, it's cool shit. There's this giant taxi cab made of paper mache, like life size and everything. Everybody, pound the sake, and then move to the next thing. So we're just moving around in a group, and I'm laughing, I'm chilling with these dudes, and finally we get to the last thing, and it's this empty room, totally empty, except the whole wall is a photograph, and it is a photograph of a guy getting arrested, getting stuffed in the back of a police car, and it is me from that day, and I'm like, holy shit! And underneath is written something in Japanese, and I can't read it. It looks like a hashtag and a beach umbrella or something. So I get this guy to translate it. He takes one look at it. He goes, tough town for the clown. And that's what that means. That became a postcard, everybody. Yeah.